everyone, my name is Jenna, but you guys can call me Jen. Welcome back to my channel. Or hi if you're new. Hi, hello. Welcome to my reading journal situation. I have just finished up to wherever I'm at. I think. We'll talk through it. This particular journal itself is it has a name. Oh, and there's a big smudge on the back. A typhosi, if you will. I got it off of Amazon, I know. But I was looking for a 8x8 square journal that wasn't going to be like $50 like the Archer and Olive ones are, because my journal from last year is a square journal from Illumicrate. This is their like filled in journal, the one that they give you, like it was printed, so I just filled it all in myself. And I really liked having a square journal, so I wanted to do that myself, and I wanted to get back to actually doing a bullet journal of it myself, because I do a bullet journal every year of my own personal planner journal situation. So this is my 2025 one, and I used to do a combined year planner and reading journal all in one, but now I have separated them. I think since 2024, since I've separated them, because I did my like big scrapbooking journal that I totally burnt out on and decided never again. And then went to this one in 2025, and now we are doing something kind of in between with this one and just doing a straight up book journal in 2026. So in 2025, here's my personal journal in case you're curious. Just a random little flip through. 2025, look at that. I have a bingo here. I had goals in the front, the future log, and then I have my highlights pages, which are always my favorite pages to do in my personal journal, because throughout the year I get like a mass printout of photos. So I'll wait until June, and then I'll do this in June or July, and then I'll fill out this whole thing with information and dates and stickers and all that kind of stuff. And then I have a couple little spaces here that I could probably fit a couple more photos on this one for New Year's. And then some other spreads that I use regularly, all that kind of stuff. Anyways, and then it goes into literally just a agenda style every month kind of situation. This is what I use my bullet journals for, on the majority for work and that kind of a thing. Anyways, so that is my 2025 personal journal. My 2026 personal journal is this one. I ended up finding this is still Lloydstrom, because I like the Lloydstrom brand the best. That's what this is. The Lloydstrom 120 GSM. The 120 GSM paper notebook is my favorite to do for bullet journals, because it gives you that 120 gram or GSM grams, whatever paper, so like things don't bleed through as easy, and it's like a nice quality journal, and I have really liked them in the past. And then this year I was gonna order another one of these, but I ended up finding this version of the Lloydstrom bullet journal. So this is their literal bullet journal. Comes with a stack of stuff. It came with this whole page of like different stickers and things, and it also came with this little like how to use this journal type of thing, which I found really funny, because I was like, nah, I don't need that. But this has been great. I've used up all the months, as you can tell, a couple of these copper dots. I thought that was wonderful. Anyways, so this is the journal. I'm keeping it kind of simple with just the 1-2 stickers here. I also have a little rainbow on the side. Keeping it a little simple this year because I think this looks lovely. This is the cover page for 2026. The bingo page, of course. I'm not like super happy with how these spreads have turned out. I haven't been happy with much of the scrapbooking spreads that I've done across the journals this year, but whatever, it's fine. It'll grow on me, or I'll add to it, doesn't really matter. And then we have an index here, which I don't really think I'm going to use because I have barely used it in my previous journal, but it's fine. I had this picture that I was like, yeah, I'll put that in there. Why not? It'll fill the second page of the index, because I know I won't use the second page of the index whatsoever. So anyways, future log, I filled that out with the stickers and some washi tape, and I did like a mini Dutch door here just so I have like a slightly easier turn, keeping it really, really simple with this year. And then I've set up my highlights page for January and June, and then July to December, just keeping it blank for now. YouTube schedule, brain dump page, because previously I did a page in here that was a content ideas page, and I used this once throughout the entire year. I never even flipped to this, so I just decided, you know what, brain dump is going to be easiest. And then I've vetoed any like tracking ones because I just, it's kind of cool to see where it starts and ends. So maybe I'll write like the starting number and then the ending number somewhere for my YouTube growth and then my TikTok growth, but I'm tired of paying attention to numbers in my social media. So anyways, brain dump page, that's where that's going to go. And then it starts with January. And once again, it's just going to be the agenda style type situation because that is what I use this for. Anyways, this is the personal journal planner situation. Now we're going to get into the reading journal. This little notebook is something entirely different. I was just using that as like leverage so that I could like leave this open and do something on this page, kind of a thing. Anyways, yes, okay, we're starting with the 2026 reading journal. So I just stamped my name in here. These stamps I got off of Etsy at some point. They're literally just letter stamps, alphabet letter stamps. A couple years ago I got them for my journaling and I love them, which has been wonderful. So here's the cover page. I don't like it. I think it's this that's bothering me. So like maybe at some point if I get more paper in the hues of all of these, like I love the color tones that I picked, but the number is throwing me off. I don't like the year, whatever. So ignoring the year, everything else I kind of like. So there's that. It's okay, guys. I fixed it. I fixed it. We got it. This I like so much more. It was really just that number that was throwing me off. This is throwing me off a little bit. Maybe I need to bring some dark blue into this corner somewheres. I got a bunch of new like books today, magazines and stuff. So that's where like this came from, the numbers and the welcome. I think I just need to pull more dark blue into here somewhere to like really balance it, but I fixed it. There we go. Much more balanced, much more pretty to the eye. Thank goodness. Anyway, so this is the first spread we have. We've got 2026 reading goals, and I decided with my goals page to do a double spread here because I wanted to also track my goals in a very specific way, specifically because I have like number goals this year other than just like the read 100 books. And that one is easy for me. I have not read under 100 books in many years, so easy one for me for sure. But I wanted to track in a kind of a separate way, like where I'm going to do my 10 series completed. And I also decided to make my goal of reading more sci-fi books very specific and read 25 specific sci-fi books. And I've done here, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but in pencil, I've written in the dimensions of these tiny little squares because I am going to use my Canva spread that I've been using for many years to print out different thumbnails of books and things, because that's how I like to jazz up my journals a little by adding in like actual thumbnails of books. And I've been doing that in different capacities in different ways. So in my monthly reviews in the Illumicrate journal, there wasn't really a spot for a cover on these monthly reviews, but I just pasted a itty bitty one in because I thought that was cool and it added a little something. Even on the further spreads, like when I had like a really big monthly book haul, I just would, you know, print out those kind of things. And I like the way that it just added a little something to the spreads, you know? So I like doing a lot with cover thumbnails. And so I figured, let's do something with cover thumbnails on this page. And I'm going to fill out my Canva sheet with them as I do. And then eventually I'll print them off. Maybe I'll print them off in batches. That's usually what I do. Quarter 1, quarter 2 kind of a situation. I'll print them off because when we get into the monthly spreads, I also want to have cover thumbnails in there as well. And what I'm going to do specifically with my Read 10 series, which is goal number 4 here, I'm going to put the first book of the series as the cover thumbnails here to represent the entire series. I'm not going to do like whatever book I read for the series, you know? I'm just going to do the first book. It's going to make it a lot easier. Goal number 3 is read 75 physical TBR books. And I decided to literally just draw out 75 circles because I see a lot of folks do a big spread with like 100, like read 100 books is there, or read 50 books or however many books is their goal in the middle. And then they do little squares and they write like 1 to 50 or 1 to 100 on the spread. And I was like, that's great. I can fit 75 in this tiny little bubble here. Because I also didn't want to do 75 book covers because I felt like that would have been a little bit much. So instead, and also just to change up the shape on this page, I'm just going to color them in with whatever I decide. It'll either be the star rating color or it'll be the month color, whichever. So there's that. And then, oh, I forgot to put the 5 there for the 5 translated books. I had said previously in my book wrap-up video that I wanted one of my goals to read more translated fiction, and I had read, I think, 2 last year, so I was like, just more. And then as I was doing this, I was like, oh, I'll make that an actual number, and I'll just make it 5. It's nice and easy, nice and round, so I did 5. And then, of course, we have this big circle here, which is going to remind me every time I open this up that I want to keep a 50-50 ratio or more of reading more BIPOC authored books than white books. And by the end of the year, I would like to fill in this pie chart with the correct graph. I think that would be kind of cool. Anyway, so that's what this is. I really like this spread. I think it's nice and clean and sharp, and I think it's going to look really great as I start filling it out and getting different cover thumbnails and whatever printed. The next spread is the bookshelf spread. Now, I really like this. This is nice and simple, and I followed a lot of what was done in the Illumicrate one. Illumicrate actually gives you 4 bookshelves, which is a little overboard, and they give you 5 bookshelves on each page. So I was like, that is a little overboard. And I found some of the spots too tiny to write the books in. So I like colored them, blacked them out. So in my own, I made them just a little bit bigger. And this is more than enough books per thing. Like I think there's 18 up here. It makes it like 70 something, 70 like 3 or 4 on this page. So it'll be more than enough books to fill out that I usually read in a year, because usually I'm around 100 to 120 books. So it'll be fine. And then because I usually do a key of like ratings, last year I decided to use the Monstera leaves in the middle and use those as ratings. And years previous, I got really annoyed with using very, very bright colors that all looked really bad on the page together because I just never matched them correctly. I decided to just do a range of greens. And by the time I got to literally like the 3rd shelf, I was like, I don't like how similar this all is. Even though aesthetically it looks very nice, I can't tell what's what. And I have a tendency to pick colors for my lower rated books, especially my like 2 stars and my 2 stars and my 2.5 stars. Like the 2 stars and the 5 stars, they look the freaking same. So I was like, and then the 2.5 stars, those stand out more than any of the other ones because they're lighter. So I was like, I just have a bad habit of picking wrong colors for my ratings. So this year, I really hope I picked okay colors. I went and I decided to add this little ladder in here. I cut out a very, very, very far in page, and I tested out earlier before I even started this video and all the filming and all that. I tested out a ton of different colors of my pencils to see how they would work together. I added in some extras and I like started covering them up, and I'm like, okay, what cohesively kind of looks nice as a color palette, similar tones, because like some of the greens were too bright, whatever. So I hope I did it okay, and I put them all in on the ladder here, and I noticed as soon as I put them in that the colors 27 and 24 look very different here, but they look very similar on the ladder. So I don't know what the hell that's about, but whatever. Hopefully I won't have as many 2s and 1 stars at all. And then I picked the brightest color for a 5 star, and I mixed them up a little bit so that like the 5 and the 4.5, the 4, the 3.5, like they all have like interesting colors, and I hope to God they look good together. Anyways, I was also going to cut out this ladder completely, but when I cut out this bottom one to like test it, I turned it over and realized that I had drawn it slightly uneven on both sides, so I can't. So whatever, it's just gonna stay like this, a little bookmark in the middle as my key for rating and colors. And then I wrote very tiny here the color number of each one, because there's a number on these markers as to like what correlates. Makes it easy for me. Anyway, so this is how I'm going to do this. I quite like the spread, and I like this ladder. It turned out nice. Here is a spread that I actually really, really enjoy. And I came back to this after making dinner and all this kind of stuff. I took a break between when I was doing all this earlier, And I was scrolling on TikTok and I found a girl who did something like this. And I think I have a screenshot of her thing. I hope it has her name in it. Oh, it doesn't. Anyways, I found a screenshot of her spread. And I was like, that's adorable. I love the hearts. I'm going to do that. And the hearts in pen and then some of them colored in. And I used the same colors as on my little rating thing here. So we have cohesive colors throughout the whole journal. That's my favorite thing, cohesive, even if each spread looks a little different. And so I was doing this whole spread and then I looked over here and then there was a big like ink mark here and down the page. And I was like, what the frick? Realized it was my ruler picking up some ink because this fancy thing likes to pick up ink sometimes. And I guess it picked up something and just like smudged. So what I'm going to do, and what I have more like junk journaling and different things on its way to me because I decided to like get a couple little things early this year because I needed to like replenish some of my stuff. A lot of my scrapbooking things have been used for a couple years and there isn't like nice new pretty things. I've kind of used all the pretty things and now there's like stuff I don't like as much in it. So I decided to replenish. And one of the things I decided to get was little vintage like frames. I don't know how big the stickers are going to be. And I would love to use like a frame per 5-star. I don't know how that's going to work. Anyways, I ended up putting this yellow page here just to cover that ink stain. And I decided to continue the hearts here. But this is going to be my 5-star spread. And I think I'm going to use a couple frames here for design, potentially leak over into the hearts. I don't know. And like this kind of reminds me of like wallpaper or something. So I think it would be kind of cool. And then in here, I have very faintly in the background, I ended up like erasing a little bit of it. I just erased some of the pencil lines, but I have the dimensions for cover thumbnails for this page for my book of the month spread. So this is going to be whatever my favorite month or whatever my favorite book from each month is going to go on this spread and slowly fill this in. I might change the dimensions from what is written to something a little bit smaller. We shall see how I decide to do that. And then this page, I'm going to fill in more once I get the frame stickers in. They are coming from Ireland, so it's probably going to take a little while, but whatever, it's fine. And then my 5 stars, that'll be a spread of cover thumbnails of books that are 5 stars throughout the year. So I'll just fill those in how I wish. I want to get the frames to like fill out this page better. I really like this. I really like this design. It's very simple. And even though it took a little bit of time, I think it worked really well. And I probably will do this again in this book at some point. Then we have my series tracker, which is going to probably leak over here. I've left myself space to fill in more because I know myself. And even though I was scrolling through Storygraph on my iPad as I was doing this, and like filling in some of the series that I have physical books of that are on my TBR. I was filling in the series that I would need to finish because I have a goal, of course, of reading 10 series in a year, you know, finishing them. So I was like, track the series. I know I'm gonna either start new series this year or, you know, decide to do specific series, what have you. But I wanted to only do completed series on this tracker page because I have a like series tracker page on my Copile or my book spreadsheet that I also keep. Yes, I track books in many different places, but I have, I think 70 plus ongoing series or series that I have read in so far that I'm still like reading in. I've read in over 200 plus series throughout my life. And so that spreadsheet is fucking crazy. But I didn't want to include every single 70 plus series that I have on here because a lot of them I've only read one book in because only one book is out in that series, right? Like it's a debut that I read in the past couple years, waiting for the second book, what have you. So I wanted to just do completed ones here so that I could see options for completing my series goal this year. And then I also put some that I know are like on my January TBR, like the Unseelie duology is not in my physical TBR. I have both of these books out from the library, so I'm going to be doing that one. And then the Rages trilogy, I want to reread book 1 and then go into book 2 and 3 as part of my January TBR as well. So anyways, series tracker, I will continue to add to it. I just know I will. So I left myself some space. And then on this side, I have the Anti-Brain Rot Challenge, which is a Storygraph challenge set up by Jenanie from This Story Ain't Over on YouTube and on TikTok and what have you. And I thought it was kind of an interesting idea to put a challenge physically in here as well, because previous years I've done book bingos that I have always failed at. I pick a bunch of books at the beginning of the year, like a 25 and 25, and then I never read them. One of the pages that I showed you earlier was one of those. It was like is a utter failure, you know, because I pick a bunch of books at the beginning of the year that I'm like, yeah, I'm interested in reading that, and then I just never get to them because my mood reader ass changes her mind all the time. Anyways, so I thought I'll write down the Storygraph challenge and do like the little cover thumbnails, and as I read books to fulfill this challenge, I'll fill the cover thumbnails. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to add into the journal. And I've been watching so many different reading journal videos on YouTube and on TikTok that there's so many spreads that are possibilities that it just, like, my brain was like on fire, and I was like, there's too much. There's too many things that you can track. So I kept mine a little bit more simple. And then we have January. So this is literally all I have for my year tracking. I have my goals page, I have my bookshelf, I have my book of the month, and my 5-star page, my series tracker, and then a Storygraph challenge. And then I got to this point, and I really fucking hate this page. Like, I just don't like the way that it came together. Like, I like elements of it, but I don't love the way it looks. I don't like this blank. I don't know what to do with it. Whatever. There's too much space on these pages, I find, to do like big reading things like this. And I had previously laid out what I wanted to do in my book journals. Like, I mapped out like what pages were going to be what, and like, you know, this is going to be February, and then I gave February a certain amount of pages, and then I wrote March, and then I gave March a certain amount of pages. So I mapped out however many pages there's going to be used in this whole journal and what they're going to be used for. So I thought I was going to be fine. And then I got here and I actually like put down some stuff, and I was like, wait, I thought, what am I going to use all this space for? Because I have a wrap up later on in this already laid out. So I might change up my spreads and stuff per month as we go on, because I just don't like this very much. I fixed this one too. This is what happens when you get new journaling stuff. You just play with it. So this I love so much fucking better. Oh my god. So this is January. I decided this year that I really like the idea that behind the anti-brain rot challenge that's been set up by Jenanie. I will leave her video linked in the description of this video explaining that challenge. It is a more intentional way of reading. So coming at reading and taking notes while you're reading, and like, you know, annotating the books if you have them physically, and if you want to annotate your books, what have you. And I really also enjoyed the setup in the Illumicrate journal of like their squares of little thoughts kind of a thing for the book journal. So I was like, I like that, but I wish I had a little more room to like write a little mini review. And then I also want to actually remember my thoughts when I read the books, because I have a really terrible memory. And I think this is going to help me read more intentionally, a little more slowly, enjoy what I read more, all that kind of stuff. So I've laid it out like this. We're going to try it for January, see how it works. But I'm going to do like, there's 4 books per quadrant here. Apologies for the sound of a cat running around. That is my child. Freya's got the zooms. So there's going to be cover thumbnails, as I keep saying. These ones are a little short, I've noticed. I'll probably have to extend them a little bit in the next time to make them a proper like cover dimension, but it's fine. And underneath I'm going to do the star rating, and then I've got author, format, genre, and dates, and I don't know what else to put here for information. I'm going to have to go scrolling through and see what other people have been putting for their little information section of this, and then my thoughts and like little mini reviews will go here. But then this page is going to be like a notes page if I want to like write down quotes, or if I want to write down my thoughts while I'm reading the books, what have you. This is what I thought of for a layout, and I think this looks really nice as well with the yellow. It's very clean. I've done that again on this page. So I have 8 so far laid out, and then I've given myself a blank page to do another set of them if my reading actually kicks into gear in this month. Then I will have enough space for 12. But we shall see if that happens. If it doesn't, I don't know what I'm going to use this for. I'll figure it out. And then I also really liked in the Illumicrate journal tracking my pages read and also my hauled books month by month. Because previously I used to do a spread where it was just a giant list of the books that I've hauled in a year, and that got messy and hard to read. I like doing it month by month so that I see every month what I've hauled. in this month and the next couple months, I am on a book buying ban because I want to not bring any books into my house until I have shrunk my currently 186 book TBR down to 150 books. But I've already gotten my Aardvark book box subscription, and I wanted 2 of the books from in there, and I skipped December, so I let myself have the 2 books, so I know there's gonna be 2 here. Like, what if I get an ARC, or someone gifts me a book? I don't know. So these are very big thumbnails for this page, and I feel like in the future months they might get a little smaller to accommodate more thumbnails, because I sometimes go a little crazy, as we saw in my September spread. Like September, she got a little crazy, where I had to go outside of the allotted 12 thumbnails they gave me. And also in October, we went a little outside because there was a book fair in my city, and I bought so many Anne McCaffreys. So yeah, that's the plan. I like to keep a little bit of a thumbnail situation going on in my hauled books, that this will probably shrink a little bit more, but because I don't anticipate bringing in many books at all in January, if anything more than just the 2 that I've bought already, we'll see how this works. But yeah, so page is read, hauled. And then here's my wrap-up page, which I hummed and hawed about for so long to like what I was gonna even put on here. So if you have any suggestions of what you like to see on your like wrap-up or monthly like overview page of your reading log or your reading in a month, let me know, because I would love to put that on here, because I don't know what to track. Even like with using the information that was in the Illumicrate journal, and like what I actually liked tracking in there, and then what I want to track every month, because I wrote that down somewhere on a little piece of paper like this, and it's in this mess. I wanted to track very specific things, so I wrote them down. So I wanted to see a reading log, because I love having a reading log of like what books I've read every month. And knowing me, it's probably not going to be more than 12, but if I do read more than 12, I do have the space to fill in a couple more books. I just can move the sticker down a little bit, and it's totally fine. I also want to track what genres I'm reading every month. And I also decided to like write down in my book journal what kind of representation the books have. And I decided to give myself a little bit of a bigger area to cover that in here, because I think that would be much more intelligent for me to do, because there are sometimes on my spreadsheets where it's like, what kind of disability rep does it have? And I'm like, well, there's actually multiple. So I just write multiple. And I'm like, actually, I would like to know like specifically what kind of rep there is in a book, even if it's multiple. So if like it's autism, ADHD, anxiety, what have you, physical, deafness, blindness, etc. So I would like to actually write that down in here to see if there's any representation in the books. And it also is going to keep me very mindful of actually reading books with more representation, whether that is disability rep, queerness rep, or BIPOC rep, what have you. It's gonna go there. I feel like this is probably gonna need to be a lot bigger next month, but it's fine. It's fine for now. We also have library books, so I want to see like if I've read any library books in the month, I can write them there. I can also probably write down like what books I've gotten from the library in the month. That would be kind of cool to track as well. Who's to say? And then wish list I wrote in here because I was like, because I'm on a book buying ban, I want to probably write down books that I want to add to my list and my TBR. So, and my shelves, maybe if I really love a book that I've read from the library that I want to add to my shelves, I can like write it here, you know? Wish list, so that I have a running list of books that I want to buy eventually. Here on this page, I've got like an overview stats situation. So this total is going to be like how many books I read in a month. We got my top genre of the month, which is most likely going to be fantasy because that just is my genre. Total pages read will go there. Total hours listened will go here because I'm a big audiobook girly. Library books, again, here, even though like it'll be like detailed here, but the number will go here. How many ebooks I read will go here. Physical books will go here. Audio will go here, like how many audiobooks. If I reread any books, how many books were by BIPOC authors and how many books were translated, because again, those are goals of mine that I want to keep abreast in my brain, you know. And then we have book of the month, which I'm gonna like write nice and big, my favorite book of the month. And then I have extra room for extra stuff for your suggestions and what have you. So that, my friends, is the reading journal for 2026. And I will see how this month works with this layout, if I want to change anything, if I want to tweak anything, and if you guys give me any suggestions for things that I should track over a month, or like what you like to track in a month, or, you know, creators that you really enjoy their book spreads, please let me know, and I will reorient myself in February and do that and all that kind of stuff. And if you guys want to see an update of this, I could do quarterly updates. So in quarter 2, I can come back and do a flip through of this journal if you were so inclined of seeing what I've done to it, if I've changed anything, how I've been filling it out, because it's always nice to see an actual book journal filled out and how it's being used. Like the Illumicrate journal, I loved because it was great, but there are a few things within the monthly tracking situation that I just don't use or didn't use. So like this, the TBR, I did use for a while, but after a bit I was like, this page, I never flipped to it. So I never really used it. The reading log was always something that I did use, but it took up so much space because I just don't read that many books a month compared to some folks. And again, yet I still read a lot of books a month compared to it doesn't matter, but like they gave you a lot of space. So I didn't need that much space. Again, I liked these. I liked the monthly reviews, and I like the wrap up enough. I don't know if it necessarily needs to take up 2 pages, but this is also very handy for when I'm filming videos and filming wrap ups. I haven't filmed a wrap up in a while, but if I want to pick that up again, it's nice to see the stats all on one page, what have you. And then near the back of this, there are more spreads that are weird that they're at the back, but I did use them every once in a while. The book series tracker that they had was a weird one that I didn't really like the way it was laid out, so I didn't really use it very much, but I did add in my own tracker at the bottom for tracking how many series I was reading throughout the year and the ones that I finished. So that was interesting. The yearly wrap up, as you can see, I have not filled it in, and I probably won't because this just doesn't, it's no longer 2025. Why would I fill this in? You know what I mean? So there's that. And then of course we had the book bracket, whatever. So from the best book of the month, because this is the best book every month, not necessarily a 5-star, this one is your favorite books of the year, depending on the month. And then you do like the book bracket kind of thing to the best. I don't know. I didn't love this. I only did it because it was there. And I've done a lot of brackets and best books and what have you. I think that's why I'm going to keep it to just this page because I really like this page. I really do. I don't know. It's just so nice. Maybe in the frame page, I'll do like a best book, like the best book of the year will like be in the middle or something, and the nicest, I don't know. But I also have enough space at the back of this book already laid out for the end of year wrapped if I want to do anything with that. I might end up using this for just more spreads if people give interesting ideas for spreads. I don't know. We shall see. But yes, my friends, thank you so much for watching this. I will do a little flip through for you without me yapping if you so wish to see this as a slow flip through. Thank you for being here, and I'll catch you in another video very soon. Stay kind and keep on reading.